outside the box, take a different road. Shake things up, let your story unfold. Unconventional playbook, break the mold. Let your heart guide you, let your tale be told.
Unconventional, exceptional, writing our own rules, feeling sensational. Unconventional, exceptional, embracing who we are, feeling invisible.
Yeah, colors outside the lines, dance in the rain. Embrace the chaos, release the pain. Unconventional playbook, let's make a change. Let's rewrite the stars, let's rearrange.
Unconventional, exceptional, writing our own rules, feeling sensational. Unconventional, exceptional, embracing who we are, feeling invisible.
Be bold, be brave, stand tall. Embrace the journey, rise after the fall. Unconventional playbook, we have it all. Let's break free, let's stand up tall.
Powered by Riverside FM.
Welcome to a late edition of Unconventional Playbook. I'm your host, Lionel Jones. Please hit that like and subscribe buttons. I had to jump on here tonight. You know, we've been so busy covering Minnesota Vikings season, their great stellar season, great start. Me and my guy, Patrick Buchanan, been on a couple times a week. But I had to jump on tonight because there's some breaking news with our Minnesota Timberwolves. And as you know, we are in Minnesota Viking season, but we dabble in other Minnesota sports as well. And there's breaking news out there that the Minnesota Timberwolves have traded Karl Anthony Towns. So the New York Knicks get Karl Anthony Towns, and the Minnesota Timberwolves get Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and a first-round pick via the Detroit Pistons. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me just start by saying that Tim Connolly, ever since he's been here, has been cooking. I know he took a lot of heat for the Rudy Gobert trade, and that worked out. And every move that he made with the Minnesota Timberwolves so far has been pretty stellar. The draft picks, bringing in Mike Conley. I mean, Tim Connolly, man, he's been cooking. He's been cooking. So I guess because of his resume and his credit and his track record, I think we have to trust what he's doing. But on the surface, I just don't like it, man. And here's why I don't like it. The NBA is not like the NFL. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. The NFL has a lot of parity in it, man. Like, you could go from being the bottom of the league one year to the top of the league the next year. Now, that doesn't happen all the time, but we've seen it. I mean, look at the Minnesota Vikings last year. And I know we had quarterback issues, but we weren't a playoff team last year. And now in some circles, people consider us one of the best teams in the league. That's the parity of the NFL. You don't see that in the NBA. Once you get to the pinnacle, man, once you get to the pinnacle, you've probably had a journey where it's taken you a while to get there. People look at the Golden State Warriors dynasty, and they look at Draymond, they look at Steph, they look at Clay, they look at all these guys, man. But no one really remembers the journey that it took to get to the mountaintop. Nobody remembers that. The Timberwolves, for years, have been irrelevant, nondescript, whatever negative term you want to use, until credit to Tim Connolly came in, made some moves that made the Timberwolves relevant. Western Conference Finals, got beat by the Dallas Mavericks, but they were right there. They were on the precipice of making it to the championship. So you have to value the journey and value, even though you came up shorter than what you thought you wanted, And everybody wanted the Minnesota Timberwolves in the championship last year. Everybody wanted the Minnesota Timberwolves to bring home a ring last year. I mean, you had national media talking about our Wolves. And would they win a championship? Kendrick Perkins thought that we were going to win a championship. So when you start getting in that type of conversation where people start thinking that about you, and the reality is you're one of the top 4 teams in the league, knocking on the door of the NBA Finals, the question remains, why would you mess with that? Like, listen, man, I'm not saying that Karl Anthony Towns is a irremovable piece for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that he, as your second best player, is a key building block to winning a championship. But what I'm sure of is Karl Anthony Towns being a part of the puzzle was good enough to get you to the Final Four. Was good enough to get you to the Western Conference Finals. And before people kick back on me, I'm going to ask you, how many times has the Minnesota Timberwolves been to the Western Conference Finals? So it's rare. It's a unicorn for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They haven't been one of these franchises that has been there. It's unique. Great chemistry. You saw the team play last year. Yeah, they came up short, man, but the ride was great. From the start of the season to the end of the season, for the majority of the year, they had the number 1 record in the NBA. And so when you have something like that, in my opinion, it's trouble if you start to tinker with it, unless you know that you're bringing something in that is better than what you had to be able to get you over the top. And I don't think Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle are the components that will get you over the top. I would argue that they may not be crucial pieces to even have you sustain where you were. And I understand there's a first round pick with that. I get it. But you're at the door knocking for a championship. You're at the door knocking. So I don't want to hear about the first round pick that we get via the Detroit Pistons. I don't want to hear, well, we're clearing salary cap room, because Big Cat had a big contract. And so at the end of that thing, he was going to be making about $60 million. Julius Randle's contract, really the Timberwolves looking at it, they really only have to honor it really for another year. So it clears a lot of salary cap room. But now you're dealing with what ifs. You're dealing with the future when you were right there at the door. And again, this is not about trading Big Cat. It's about your time is now. Your window is now. It is why I'm not even going to discuss debates about, because people are going to say, man, Big Cat wasn't the guy. He didn't show up in the playoffs. He didn't do this and he didn't do that. And look, I can't argue with that. But all I know, with Big Cat on the squad, they were the best team in the NBA for the majority of the season and got to the Western Conference Finals. That's what I do know. That's what I do know. And so for those of you that don't understand basketball and don't understand chemistry, man, when you struggle for years to get to that point, you have to be careful, because it's very easy to start believing that when you make a couple of good moves that you're the smartest guy in the room. And it's very easy to hand the mantle over to someone that may not be ready to carry the load. And I'm not saying Anthony Edwards is or isn't. I'm just saying, when you get to the doorstep and you're knocking, you got to be careful in what moves you make. It's easy to get anxious. It's easy to get greedy. It's easy to feel like you're the smartest guy in the room when you're making these deals. And I just hope that the Minnesota Timberwolves don't regret this move. I think you have to at least go on a training camp. I mean, man, come on. Training camp starts in 2 days. They report in 2 days. And so I think you should have at least rolled this thing out in the first half of the season. Maybe make a deal if it's not working. If you see that you're not going to be able to get back to where you were, make a move at the trade deadline. I don't understand why it had to be now, 2 days before you start training camp. A move that I can't argue that is a bad move. It just doesn't feel like it makes you better. It's not a move that gets you over the hump. And there's been a lot of teams in the Western Conference that have made some moves. Denver Nuggets made some moves, bringing in Russell Westbrook. They didn't like the feeling of the Timberwolves beating them last year. Again, this is not about Karl Anthony Towns, man, and if he's valuable, if he's a good player, if he's championship material. Like I'm not even going to discuss that. What I am disappointed is it's taken years. I've been with the Timberwolves since the Pooh Richardson years. Isaiah Ryder, Tommy Gugliotta, Kevin Love, Kevin Garnett, Stephon Marbury, you name it. When Kevin Harlan was broadcasting, googly, oogly, 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 baby. I just don't like moves like this when you're there. And you just need to make one more key move possibly to get you over the hump. You had a great offseason, bring in 2 first-rounders, 2 young bucks to help out. And then you trade your second-best player when you know what he brings to the table. And, man, listen, I'm a big Nas Reed fan, but I don't want to hear the Nas Reed argument either. Because Nas Reed doesn't put together 35-minute nights. We've never seen a big sample size of him playing big minutes. You see him in spurts. And I'm a basketball coach. There's a difference in players playing in spurts and players that's playing big minutes. Man, I don't like the timing of the move. Now, I've heard some rumble about maybe this isn't the move. Maybe this is a pathway to bring in KD. Kevin Durant, who has about another year or 2 left of playing at a high level. I don't know. I don't know if Tim Connolly has another move left up his sleeve, and maybe this is kind of the first step, kind of the okie doke before he makes his big move. But there's got to be something because I trust Tim Connolly. And on the surface right now, I just don't like it. You destroy a level of chemistry on your team. A team that was in the Western Conference Finals last year. Dallas has gotten better with Klay Thompson. The Denver Nuggets gotten better with Russell Westbrook. And we're bringing in not scrubs. We're not bringing in scrubs. Julius Randle is not a scrub. Dante DiVincenzo is not a scrub. But are we better for the move when we were on the doorstep of the finals? Man, I know there's a lot of people that are going to disagree with me because I know how many anti-Cat fans there were and people calling him soft, and he's a big 7-footer that shoots threes. But all I'm going to tell you is this. Be careful what you wish for. because chemistry is a real thing. And I know that whatever detractors say about Karl Anthony Towns, and some of them was true because I heard them, that it doesn't necessarily replace chemistry, the personality in that locker room, the teammate on the sideline. All of that stuff matters when it comes to building a basketball team. And you were on the doorstep of the finals. And you decided to make a move 2 days before training camp starts. I don't like it. I don't like it. And I know there's going to be a lot of pushback out there. And put your thoughts in the comment about this trade. Are you happy with the trade? Was it the right timing? Is this the deal that's going to get us over the hump, to get us past the Dallas Mavericks? Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo? The move, in my opinion, is great for the New York Knicks. It adds some shooting. You know, they are a defensive team, but they don't have that big that can really stretch the floor. Tibbs has been very complimentary of Karl Anthony Towns ever since he left Minnesota. So Karl Anthony Towns is from New Jersey, I believe, so he's going closer to home. Hats off the big cat. The Knicks are now a really relevant team in the East. Nice move for the New York Knicks. Minnesota Timberwolves, I don't know where this puts us. Hey, it may put us back in the Western Conference Finals. I just don't have the feeling that it's made us a better basketball team. But I've been wrong before. We'll see. Karl Anthony Towns traded to the New York Knicks for Dante DiVincenzo, Julius Randle, and a first-round pick via the Detroit Pistons. UP Nation, have a good night, and we will make sure to see ya when we see ya. LaTrey, take us home, man.
I don't know who I am. Can I say I'm a man? Am I losing my mind? Am I wasting my time? Do I know who I am?